Hi, welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. And this is my weekly update, number 72, and it is August 4th, 2024. So this week, well, it just seems like I didn't get so much done, but that's okay. I don't have anything to hang up behind me this week because I didn't do any long arm quilting, I didn't get any quilt tops finished, and I also didn't get any binding. But I still did work on a few other things. I had some things I planned on getting done, but you know, life just gets in the way. But that's okay. So now this week I did get a question about this Lori Holt Mercantile sewing machines pattern, the Quilt Seeds sewing machine pattern. And this person wanted to know if my sewing machine needle matched up with this quilt squares down here, because in the pattern it does. Well, when I went back and looked at my sewing machine, here, I'll pull it up right here. I will say my sewing machine needle is off just slightly, but to me that's not a big deal, because once I pull it back, and then I'm going to do all 6 of these quilt seeds, and I'll put it in a quilt top, and then I get it quilted. You're not going to notice that, so I guess it is supposed to line off, but mine is off just slightly, but I don't think it's a big deal. So that was that. And also last week I forgot to show you this. This was the Tea and Notion ones that I had finished. So let me figure out where that one is. There we go. There is the Tea and Notions all done. Now there is 6 of these, and I plan on doing on all 6 and then putting them into a quilt top when it's all done. I have done 4 so far, so I still have 2 more to do. And I do make videos of those as I do those. And then the other 2 I have got done are needle and thread and the scissors and buttons. So I'll just show these real quick. These have been done for a little bit. So like I said, I will put all 6 into a quilt top to make a big quilt out of it. And here's the last one. And I've been doing about 1 block a month. So I plan on doing another one sometime this month, and I'll do the last one sometime in September. And then I can put them all together. Okay, so now, I also did get a comment about how I get so much done. Well, it just depends, you know. Like I said, this week has been kind of crazy. I've been here and there and everywhere. So sometimes I only get like 15 minutes at a time, 15, 20 minutes, and I try to do something. So even though I'm working 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it still makes progress. Not as much as I like, but it does make progress. And like my cross stitch and crochet is very portable. I can always take that with me. Quilting, not so much. But so that makes it a little bit easier too when I'm like on the go, having to go somewhere. If I have to wait for a few minutes somewhere, I can just pull that out and work on it for a little bit. I mean, other than that, it's just I just take what I can get when I get it. And I do a lot of sewing at night. I'm most productive at night. And yes, I mean night, early morning, from anywhere from about 10 to 2 a.m. That's when I am my most productive. That doesn't work for everybody. I am not a morning person. Even if I try to work on stuff in the morning, I just don't make a lot of progress. So I think everybody's different in how they do things, and that's just how it works for me. Okay, so I released some videos this week on what will I make with the leaflet 10-inch square pack or layer cake, and I'm making a disappearing pinwheel. So we start off with making some pinwheels, cut them a certain way, and then we make this block. Now, I thought I would get this all finished last week, but it didn't happen. But here's where I am with just some of the blocks. I'll show you some of the blues, just because I like my blues. Let's see. Here's a blue one. So here's where we are with all my blocks and where I am. Now, these are pinned together, so I still have to finish sewing those seams right there to make that block finished, and then we'll put all these into a quilt top. Now, I only need 36 of these. Now, I made 40 because I'm going to take 4 of them and put them into a pillow to go with it. So this quilt will basically have 4 of these that kind of go around in the center, that kind of make this little box in the center, and then these other blocks that kind of explode out around it. So hopefully I can finish making those videos this week. So far I've made 2 on that, and I don't know if I'm going to have 1 or 2 more until that quilt top is finished. But I worked on that. Let's see, another thing I haven't shown in a while is my Leader and Enders project. So last year I had been working on the Cotton Cuts Gnome of the Month, and that's all a pre-cut thing that they send, and they send a lot of extra pieces with it. So at first I was just using those pieces as the extra pieces as Leaders and Enders, sewing over and over, and then I was like, well, I should make something with them. So I started making these blocks with the half square triangles. And then after I made all of those blocks, I started taking just the squares and just putting them into, I think this is a 16 patch, right? So I got all of those all done, all the blocks done. So I'm starting to put them together into a project, into a finished quilt top. So here's kind of a sashing row. But I've got some more little squares in between. And then this is going to be a row for my quilt. And yes, it's just pinned together. Because like I said, I'm just using these as leaders and enders, and I sew them as I'm working on my projects when I need to end something with my chain piecing. Because a lot of people will use leaders and enders because their fabric, especially when you're working with triangles, can get sucked down into that needle plate. Mine doesn't suck it down, but what it does happen is when I cut the thread, it has a tendency to come unthreaded, and I don't like constantly threading my machine. So that's why I use the leaders and enders, and that's just kind of the project I've been working on the side as I make some videos. And so as you see me sewing in some of these videos, you've may seen that project, and that's what that is. It's coming along. So after I get all of that center of the quilt top sewn together with all the sashing and the cornerstones, I'm going to put a white border all the way around it. So what else has I worked on as far as quilting? Well, I've got 2 more projects that I worked on this week before I started doing the disappearing quilt. Let me get them. So I worked on this project, and it's called like a half pack quilt. And what it is, a lot of the quilt shops have like a five half yard bundles into a quilt kit, if you will, that you can pick out, and then you get to pick out a pattern. Now I can't show you the pattern because it has all the directions right on the front of it. But basically for this pattern, let me show you the name of it. The name of it is the Spin Me Around quilt, and it's basically alternating between a 4-pack and a pinwheel when the final quilt is. So here's where I am. There's my pinwheels, and I have it pinned together. And then my 4 patches are all done. And these will be my 4 patches. So I'll alternate between the pinwheel and the 4 patches. And then we have some sashing, which this will be the sashing. And then this is a border that goes on the sides that has the extra fabric. So I worked on that a little bit. I know not a lot of progress on quilting this week, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. And then the last thing I worked on as far as quilting goes is this encompassed quilt pattern. Now, these are not the fabrics I used. And I'll show you where I am so far. But basically, after you get this center, like, it's done like a medallion style. So after you get this center done, it's just basically adding a bunch of borders. And I am doing the bigger size. So, and that's where I am. Adding borders and borders and more borders. Now, this quilt is almost all batiks. I do have a couple of fabrics in here that are not batiks, but I think they have that batik look. So there are some quilting cottons mixed in with this batik. Oops, that's the back. Let me see if I can pull this up here a little bit. Let me find out where my top is. Okay. And again, I know it's a top because I keep these little pins kind of up there. That what would be the top left if I'm looking at it. Again, that's just me. That's what I do. It kind of helps me when I look at a quilt real quickly to know where that top left is without trying to look at it and taking all the time to spin it. Okay, so this is where I am. And like I said, I'm starting to add this border. This border I just have pinned on. So this has a lot more colors than what that pattern had in it. But we'll see how it looks when it's all done. All right. So I think that is everything I worked on as far as quilting and sewing this week. Let's look at cross stitch. So for cross stitch, I started working on a new series, and this is what the series is. It's from Primrose Cottage, and it's their January 9 patch. And of course I'm doing all 12 months. I started off with January. There's a hat in the center and those trees in the corner and some snowflakes. So I did one, and I did mine on 14 count Aida, and so yes, these are not very big. I did one, and I did two. Then I started working on the February 9 patch, and I did one, and I started working on the second one. So, what do I plan on doing with these? Well, I plan on turning them into some little pillows. You could also use them as pin cushions, but I don't use pin cushions. So there'll be like some little pillow type things, just like they did here. And I plan on doing all 12 months. And I'm going to put them kind of displayed in this wood little tray bowl thing. But I only need one each month. But I'm doing two. Wonder what I could possibly be doing with the other one. Maybe it has something to do with the mailer. You'll have to watch to find out. Okay, so what else? As far as, that was all I've done as far as cross stitch. Now, as far as crochet, I did work on some kitchen items this week. Working on those kitchen yarns that I have. So I used this scrubby type yarn. So it's a very hard, and it's got like the scrubbiness in it. What these are, I still have to weave my ends in. These are like what I use for my Swiffer wet jets. I use these pads. Instead of buying the disposable cloth, you make these, and that way I can throw them in the washer and reuse them. And this yarn, hold on just a minute, let me see. So this is what the yarn is. It's the Scrubology Scrub It yarn, and it's very stiff, and it has like almost like a steel wool feel, not quite that abrasive, but to help scrub and clean. So that's what I did. I made some of those real quick. Those are quick and easy projects. And then I just made this for just dishes, a little scrubby for dishes. And let's see, what else did I make? I made this. Again, I still got my ends that I have to cut off. This is cotton yarn that I used for this, and I just made a dish towel. And I made a couple dishcloths to go with it. And again, this is just cotton yarn. So that's all I did for crochet. And let's see, I did work a little bit on my diamond painting. Again, not much progress done, but I'll show you. Okay, so here is my diamond painting, and it is a big one. Let me show you the picture. There is the, oops, there is the picture, Sledding to Town. It's a Chuck Pinson painting. And then I'll show you where I'm at. Last week I pretty much had this row done, and this week I started over here. Now, if I pull and closer, you can kind of see all the empty spaces through there that I still have to add those drills or diamonds to. So that is where I am on that. And yes, it's a big one. It's going to take me a while. Okay, so that's everything that I have worked on this week. Now, I do have a couple goals for this coming week. Don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to try. The first thing is I need to finish this disappearing pinwheel quilt. That's the first thing I want to really get done. Get those up and ready and get the quilt all done, because I think that's going to be absolutely amazing when it's finished. My second goal is I am really going to try and get something quilted on the long arm this week. I think I'm probably going to either quilt my Judy Niemeyer quilt, that big paper piece one that's been done for a while. I really want to get that done. Or the legendary quilt that has the Bigfoot in it. But I think I'm going to try and do the Judy Niemeyer. We'll see. And then, let's see. And the third thing I want to try and do this week is I want to try and finish my November and December cross stitches into that easel that I've been working on. So those are my 3 goals for the week. We'll see if that happens. I hope so. Okay, so now I am considering, well, as you all know, I have lots of fabric. I have a lot of fabric. I'm addicted to buying fabric. I love buying fabric, especially good deals on the pre-cuts and things. However, I think I might do a no-buy in September. I was thinking about doing it in August, but it's my birthday month. I can't do a no-buy on my birthday month. You know I'm going to buy something. So instead of doing like some haul videos, I was considering pulling out some of my stash and showing you guys that, because some of these I have kits that are all the fabrics all pulled, it's just ready to go. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd be interested in kind of rediscovering my stash with me. Okay, till next time, bye.